Hi, and welcome to the 2013 edition of the Missouri Urban Journalism Workshop. I'm Sophia Signarovich. Many Columbians are physically active and they want their city to make it easier and safer to ride their bikes. Aaron Ladd of Parkview High School in Lilburn, Georgia, looks at what Columbia is doing to help them.
Biking is a great way to stay active, and it can also be a good mode of transportation in a town like Columbia. But not many citizens are willing to ride the streets without a little practice.
Well, one thing is we concentrate on the trails. You know, we know that for the Parks and Rec, if you don't get people out riding the bikes recreationally, if I can't take my young kids out riding on a trail, odds are I'm never going to ride down Broadway on my bike.
At a recent city council meeting, Parks and Rec presented its master plan, which proposed 117 miles of new trails, 14 for bikes specifically. But for citizens like Laura McCann, the bike lanes are what really need improving.
It used to be that you could sort of bike across and then go on the sidewalk and not have competition with the cars going up that steep hill. And now they veer you so you almost have to go on the street.
I'm here downtown at the bus station, and not many people are using the bike loops. Many citizens say that if there were more safer bike lanes, that would bridge the gap between a recreational user and a daily commuter.
The first thing that tends to put up a roadblock is safety, and bike lanes tend to give a feeling of safety. It gives a person their own lane, they know where they're supposed to be. It lets car traffic know that that is a bike lane, that is where the bike is going to be.
Organizations like PedNet and Columbia Parks and Rec are pushing for more safe bike lanes. But as Josh Stockwell of Clunk Bike and Repairs put it, lines on the street will only work if Columbians are willing to cooperate.
I think a lot of the improvements would be more social rather than like the infrastructure of the city, just having motorists in general and people be aware of cyclists and kind of take care of everybody out there. I mean, there always seems to be this battle between cars and bikes, and you know, everybody's doing the same thing, just trying to get from point A to point B.
With the Missouri Urban Journalism Workshop, I'm Aaron Ladd.
Hi, I'm Carter Wadeel. Columbia city officials want to address citizens' concern about public transportation. Natalie Hinson of Capel High School in Capel, Texas, learned that bus schedules may not be meeting riders' needs.
For some Columbia residents, public transportation is not a want, it's a need, their way to get around. The PedNet Coalition's goal is to help people who cannot afford a car or who would rather not drive their car around the city.
The PedNet Coalition is focused on active transportation, so that's biking, walking, wheeling to work, and we also focus on public transit, which is the primary and only focus of the Comet campaign. So we're working to increase and expand public transit in Columbia.
One bus rider says the system, while good, still needs improvements.
The pros to it is if you don't have a car and there's public transportation, you can always make sure you get to work. Sometimes, depending on what time you got to be at work, is the job you got to get because the bus doesn't open till like 6.
This is the Columbia bus schedule. There are 7 routes that run throughout the University of Missouri and the city of Columbia. The buses come only every 40 minutes, which has created problems for Columbia's citizens.
It was an entirely different situation. Here you had buses running only 40 to 80 minutes. They never run on Sunday. On Saturday it's reduced.
Woods says the bus schedules need to be more responsive to riders.
Sometimes I have to be up like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours earlier because I have to catch a bus at a certain time, because if I don't catch that bus, then the next bus after that I'll be late for work.
The group COMET, or Columbia's for Modern Efficient Transit, is working with Columbia Transit to improve the bus system.
And so when those routes are changed, it will actually be, it'll allow for shorter headways, which is just the amount of time it takes the bus to run its route. And that will also allow for the transfers to happen along the route. So everything will move along a lot more quickly.
COMET's goal is to increase service by fall of next year. With the Missouri Urban Journalism Workshop, I'm Natalie Hinson.
Hi, I'm Aaron Ladd. It's been a little more than 2 years since tornadoes devastated Joplin. Erica Goldhawk of Amador Valley High School in Pleasanton, California, found out what Columbia high schools are doing to protect their students.
Sarah Smith-Fergerio, Senior Academic Advisor at the University of Missouri and mother of 2 teenage boys, remembers what happened in Joplin and how it impacted her children.
Given the fact that we were in that area when the storm hit and we were hit by that storm, although not the tornado itself, they could see the severity of the storm, and I think it really solidified for them why we do the things we do.
Since Joplin, schools in Columbia have prepared their students and faculty in case of a natural disaster. Tracy Conrad is principal of Hickman High School.
We do not have a specific spot designated as a storm shelter, but we use our entire basement and internal classrooms.
Although there isn't a designated spot for a tornado warning at Hickman High School, the Little Box Theater in the basement is probably the safest place to go, and it holds the most people. Accommodating a school full of students can be tough, but across town at Rockbridge, Principal Jennifer Mass says that they are also prepared to take full measures for their students' safety.
We could fit everyone down there. It would be tight, but we can certainly fit everyone in the basement.
That is not the case with all schools in Columbia due to the age of the buildings.
My younger son was at Parkade, and while they're very good about notifying parents as well, there's not necessarily enough room in the basements for all of the students, so some have to be in the hallways. That's a bit problematic.
Even if schools are equipped with shelters, they need to continue emergency drills so students will be prepared in case of an emergency.
I think sometimes we tend to take them lightly because they happen so frequently. But the Joplin incident really was a change for, at least in my opinion, for the way the students reacted.
With the Missouri Urban Journalism Workshop, I'm Erica Goldhawk.
Hi, I'm Natalie Hinson. For many people, a lot of rain provides a break from the summer heat, but for area farmers, that's not always the case. Sophie Signarovich of Courier Zoo Academy in St. Louis shows how the weather has affected them.
When it rains, it pours. At least, that's how many farmers have felt this summer. With more rain than normal, the harvest of farmers like Mary Arnett of the Peachtree Farm in Boonville is at least 3 to 4 weeks behind.
The weather this year has just thrown off the schedule, and so people come out here expecting certain kinds of peaches which just aren't ripe yet, and they're not going to be ripe until later.
Arnett said that with a lot of heat and sunshine, the peaches not only ripen faster, but better.
Peaches taste a lot better when you don't have as much rain. I think that if you get a lot of heat and a lot of sunshine and they don't have as much rain, they taste a lot better. Whereas if you have a lot of rain, the peaches tend to swell with water and they don't taste as good.
Despite the rain delay, prices have not increased and quantity has not decreased. And it's not just at the Peachtree Farm. Many customers of the Columbia Farmers Market have not seen a change in the cost or amount, just the availability of certain crops.
I noticed that the heirloom tomatoes are harder to find this year, but I see some. And the melons are late. Like typically by the end of July, you'll have lots of watermelons, cantaloupe, that sort of thing.
Even though certain produce is harder to find, Tim Johnson, chef of an Arrow Rock restaurant, knows that it all changes from year to year and is confident in what the farmers have to sell.
The vendors here are worried about quality anyway, so they're only going to bring their best stuff.
Even with all the rain this summer, locals are still leaving us happy customers. What the shoppers have been saying about what they're buying is what the farmers are saying about their produce.
And this is from hail. This is hail damage.
Dina Davis, a Boonville farmer, said what the customers are seeing now is mostly due to the large amounts of rain that hit the area this season.
With the gardening itself, with this kind of truck produce, it has affected it because we didn't get our gardens in as early as we normally do. A lot of people that ended up planting like potatoes early, they ended up rotting in the ground before they sprouted because it was too wet.
This time last year, Dina was already canning her tomatoes. Now, she is still waiting for them to turn. But her produce hasn't suffered from all this rain. All that has changed is the timing. And even though Dina is a little behind schedule, she is very confident in her produce and is simply going with the flow.
You make do. You make do.
With the Missouri Urban Journalism Workshop,
We'll be back.
I'm Sophia Signarovich.
Hi, I'm Erica Goldhawk. It's a summer ritual, keeping that lawn nice and green. But for some, it's more than just for appearances. Carter Waddell of Columbia High School in Maplewood, New Jersey, explains.
It's a beautiful day at A.L. Guston Golf Course. Squirrels are munching, beetles are buzzing, and golfers are enjoying their round. But the course would not be what it is without its grass, greens, fairways, and rough. And for course superintendent Isaac Brewer, taking care of it is often a tall order.
The environment to us is very important out here, and we spray on a curative basis. We don't spray until we see a problem.
There are economic motivations for Brewer as well. He says that chemicals sprayed by his staff on fairways can cost a couple $100s per acre, and that he spends $10,000 to $12,000 a year to combat diseases on his greens. Golfers rely on green greens and smooth fairways to play the game they enjoy, and Isaac Brewer and his staff make sure they have exactly what they need. But if a home or business needs to take care of their vegetation, they often turn to a private landscaping company. Kenton Binkholder has a master's degree in turf grass management from the University of Missouri. Today, he works for Pullman's Lawn and Landscape LLC in Columbia. He says his work in many ways isn't much different from golf course landscaping.
Golf course, you're just irrigating more acreage, where home lawns, it's still a matter of practice of knowing how much water to put down.
But some believe hiring a landscaper to deal with their yard isn't the right way to go, like Nicole Liberton.
I'm terrified to even ask anybody.
Though not hiring a landscaper is easier on Liberton's wallet, this isn't the only reason she prefers to take matters into her own hands.
If I had all the money in the world, I would absolutely just hang out and dig in my own yard all the time. It's quite a lot of fun. It's a lot of zen.
As I found out, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. With the Missouri Urban Journalism Workshop, I'm Carter Waddiel.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the 2013 edition of MUJW's News Channel 8.